Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down.
It has been long overdue to expose the truth that the Democrats and Republicans are sucking the life out of America's liberty and usurping our rights at every turn. Now is the time to seize our civil liberties and take back our individual rights. Here on Southern Liberty, we will expose it all. With his musket on his back, the Declaration of Independence in one hand, and the Constitution in the other, here's your host, Roderick Threets.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to this episode and installment of The Experience today. This evening, we're going to slide into something here that I guess we would have to say, I guess in my opinion, Ms. Val, would be the elephant in the room. Right. Because this is something we all tap dance around at some parts in our life, right? When it comes to family members, comes with friends, and this, that, and the other. But right now, and when you sent me that, I was just thinking about all the alienation that we have gone through as people within the last, let's say, 10 years politically, right? How people have not been our friends, and family members have disowned each other because of who they voted for, and I mean down to the pettiest of things. And I sat and I thought about it. I said all alienation leads to one thing, and I'm not gonna say what that one thing is, not yet, but it all leads to one thing, well, a couple things, but they're byproduct, they're products of each other. What's going on in your neck of the woods, Miss Val?
Too much rain.
Yeah, not enough, and now none.
Too much of an Indian rain dance. Yeah, this is like early for this kind of rain, but welcome to summer in Florida, right?
Right.
You get it every afternoon. Boom.
Yep.
A deluge like a hurricane. Yeah.
Well, what's that saying? What's that saying? April showers bring May flowers.
Well, yeah. We could only wish. Right? That we would get flowers for real, like anti-government flowers.
Right.
Like the kind that grow really big and sunny sunflowers. Yeah. Could something please happen already?
I know, right?
I mean, every day we hear like, oh man, look what they did and we caught them and we got this and blinking and stinking and how are we going to do it?
Blinking and
right?
stinking.
How are we going to do it? Ay. We have no DOJ. We have a president that's going to veto anything and everything we do. He's not a president. He's a rip-off artist. But how are we going to prove what a horrible criminal he is? Wait, here's the good part of today, right? He comes out, says he's running for president. What an embarrassment. What an alienation from reality, right? But then they come out with this, there's going to be no debate. What else are you going to alienate us from?
Right.
That's written in our Constitution. Debate, basic debate. And then they turn around and say, oh, Trump doesn't want to debate. Trump? He'd be the first one to want to debate. He loves it.
Yeah.
That's how you know they're lying, right? That's how you know this is just, it's a level of insanity. This alienation, it really is because of irrational. We're looking at such irrational outcomes and behavior that we're alienated from reality.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you.
And then where do you go from there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm writing today, and I'm thinking, okay, so there's an art to this. There's an art to producing a society of people who feel alienated like we do. It seems it's been done before. We're not the first.
No, we're not the
second.
first. Yeah.
Yeah. There's an art to this. And somebody is doing their artwork on us now, like really good and really scary. They're emotionally isolating and withdrawing. Well, they're making us feel isolated and withdrawn from everything that was just like normal to all of us just a few years ago. It's kind of become this like illness, a psychological and social illness that's just sitting inside of all of us. You know, there's times we just feel like we're going crazy because we actually are, and we know that we shouldn't be all at the same time.
Right.
You know, it's just it's not peaceful, right?
Right.
So it causes people to sort of become indifferent, like, oh well, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing anybody can do. This is just happening. And then sometimes it makes people really hostile and distanced. And we see that also. We see it all.
Mm-hmm.
Hostility. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you saw that commercial, the trans, whatever it is, saying, I want everybody to go get guns. And if anybody tries to stop you going into a bathroom, he was threatening. I mean, it feels like we have no laws anymore. Like there's just no leg to stand on.
No, it surely seems like it. The problem is, and again, right? You have a responsibility as a citizen to. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to curb, right, what you say, right? But you have a responsibility, right, to exercise your rights responsibly, right?
Exactly.
Right. Threatening people is not the way you exercise your rights. That is a very quick way to find yourself in inside of a black zipper bag.
Yeah, and also to threaten people for something, bless you, that was absolutely normal just recently, to walk into a ladies' room or a men's room and not meet up with opposition for just being in what you think is the right place, or you feel it's the wrong place for someone else to be. I mean, it's just like we're taking our norms of society and saying, no, this is not normal anymore, and you can't do this anymore. So we're alienated from what we always felt comfortable with being normal or accepted. And we're being threatened for it.
Yep.
That's where the line gets drawn.
Yeah.
So, you know, you see, and people say, if anybody does this to me, I'm going to get hostile, and yet they're saying, no, we're going to get hostile. So what does that cause? Two opposing forces feeling hostile towards each other.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile that?
You can't reconcile.
I don't know where to be.
Right? You can't reconcile something like that because, you know, and I want to go off on a kind of a downwing tangent here, but it's okay. Let me go back. When I said that you're exercising your rights responsibly is a thing that all citizens should do, right? Within that paradigm, right, you have to also honor the non-aggression axiom, right? So, yes, we believe in sticks and stones, right? But then we know sticks and stones can go further into sticks and bullets or sticks and knives, right? And
sticks and stones.
Right. And we have to always believe what a person tells us and take that to heart. We no longer live in a space where, you can say something, if you're amongst your buddies and say something jokingly, like that guy said, okay, whatever. We know damn well you're not going to do anything in our circle. But when you step outside of that circle into an audience you do not know or understand, you become hostile. You have violated that non-aggression axiom, right? So now I'm taking you at face value. Oh, you're going to stop me if I try to stop you? Wait a minute. You're going to do what with what? Oh, wait, click. You about to do what?
Yeah. We're on edge.
Yeah, because
it's almost like the Western movies, right? The Western movies, Clint Eastwood would walk into a bar, and in 2 seconds, everybody was fighting, and the guns were blowing off. I mean, it feels like that's the world we're living in now. That's how it actually might come down in a moment. You just have to be at the wrong place at the wrong time anywhere. What an experience this is. It is an alien nation. We're alienated because we're living in an alien nation. We've been taken over by aliens, the demons from the dark side. This just doesn't even feel real. And I say this all the time. It doesn't seem real that we're actually living in this and watching this. It's a horror movie. And every day, think about also how this has invaded us. So every time we look at a product, anything, you could go into a supermarket, you could go into a store, you could be buying something online. All of a sudden, we're met up with, okay, I used to like this product, so who's making it? Where does it come from? Is this a woke company? Is this a good, and you end up turning the computer off saying, I don't know what the hell to buy anymore. I don't know. And what, are there baby parts in my skin cream? Is there something horrible that's going to kill me in the lettuce I buy? Is there, talk about, we're becoming like the aliens because they think this is conspiracy, that we're even thinking like this. You're so scared of the food. Why don't you order out? Why are you cooking dinner for anybody? No, because I don't do that. Because I like to know what I'm buying and what I'm cooking and what I'm sharing with other people. I don't want that. Oh, you're crazy. You can't control this. Well, right. To some extent, we can't control this because, my close friends say to me, well, what can we do? What can we do? Well, I think back when I lived in upstate New York, we had a big co-op. We had a co-op. And I think that people should think about this in their communities because this is a great idea that's sort of fallen to the lazy wayside. But not everybody has land and land enough to grow enough food to sustain their family, and especially all year long. What we used to do is we had a little house that was rented by all of us. There must have been 50 families that did this. And we had a piece of land, and we grew produce. And there were some people that could can and jar, and there were some people that had animals. But what we all did is we maintained the farms in the good seasons. We stocked the shelves with things we could get from the outside. We all took turns every week sitting at the register, 1, 2, 3 days a week, whatever we had to do. Everybody worked these little shops. We paid a nominal fee to be a member, and we had a co-op. And I think that we need to get back to that idea because not everybody can get to a farmer's market. I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with where everybody's farmer's markets are and if people are even able to do that around the cities. But a co-op is a great idea if you can get people in your community together because you all work it. You all pay into it. and you all have food all the time and supplies.
It is a viable idea, right? You definitely would have to find a lot of like-minded people, right?
Well, yeah.
To you know what I mean, to be into this, because nowadays, like, and I'm going to keep it real. Besides the few of us in our circles, and I'm talking about as far as Southern Liberty is concerned, right? That understand this concept. There's not many more people outside of us, right? That really understands that, right? Because they've been taught that the government is to provide. So they've forgotten that instinct of survival.
Well,
right?
no one forgets the instinct of survival. It's built into us. Well, and I do think that as things become less and less available, more and more people are going to start coming around to this concept, because they're not going to sit there and let themselves starve to death. They're going to start working. They're going to start realizing. They're going to grow up. They're going to grow out of the government, because they're going to see. They're going to see right in front of them that this is not viable anymore, and I'm not going to sit here and starve to death. This can happen with just 3 or 4 people coming together and going to mailboxes and calling people and saying, hey, are you hungry? So are we. It really wouldn't take much. People would really, it's like a store going out of business. Everybody runs to the store, even the people that never shop there, because they want to get stuff that they need for a cheaper price. And it's going to be the same way with the food chain. You mark my words, Rod, this is not about people that think in tunnel vision just like us. Everybody gets hungry. Everybody needs food. Everybody needs supplies. And if we have to come together to do it, it will happen with more people than you might think right now.
I'm thinking more on the lines of, right, and I'm looking at a lot of the ideologies that are running around, right, and how ingrained they are, right? For example, right, the communists, for example, right, they would rather come steal and take your stuff than they actually work to do it. That's historical, right? They've done that through history. They'd rather come take what everybody else has for their own profit, right, than to do it on their own. Right, and
that's happening on a larger scale, though.
Yes, it is.
That's happening on the large scale. Right. But I'm talking about on a small scale survival, because we may have to survive outside of what they are doing on that large scale. And that's exactly the point.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. So, I've seen this work, and I've seen this work on a lot of levels. And living in the country all those years was really a great teacher for me. And, now I'm trying to do it again, and it's much harder, just because I'm tired, and, there's a lot more stress associated with just living in this world today. But I still think we can do it, because I believe in humanity. I believe in people showing up when they absolutely positively have to, out of desperation, out of starvation, because they are going to try to starve us out. I hope everybody recognizes that that's
their goal.
CCP special.
Yeah, that's their goal.
Yeah, that's a communist. That is it. That's their. Yeah. And also, you look at the money in the banks, and I think another bank went out today. Yes. Or
almost went out. Yeah, almost went out. Yep.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be a lot of that, and a lot more of that. And you walk into these little town banks, and you think to yourself, what is going to happen to all these people that have their money in the small town banks? And I remember like a year ago, people saying, oh, I'm going to get my money out of the bigger bank and I'm going to put it into these smaller banks because we'll be safer there.
Right.
Well, Yeah, that's not.
No,
that's
it's not
going to work.
Yeah, that's not going to work either. Nope. Nope, because you're still dealing in fiat.
Oh yeah.
Right, you're still dealing in fiat.
Oh yeah.
Now, if that bank decided to, on the side, start dealing in precious metal, then you got something.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have.
I think that's starting. That's going to happen. I think we're going to end up with gold banks. Now, I think people sometimes get the wrong idea when we talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
I think people think, oh, well, only people that have a lot of money can do this. No. This is just a new concept way to take your cash that you might still have or that might still be trickling in and put it into these banks that are now going to be dealing with a gold-backed currency. I believe it's happening in Texas, and it's going to start happening in Florida, hopefully, and the red states. This is going to pick up steam.
Yes.
And you'll be able to take, let's just say you have disability and you have money coming in from whatever sources it comes in. Doesn't have to be a lot, but your money can get transferred into the gold-backed currency bank. And that is how you'll use your charge card, and that's how you'll function in society. And I was listening to somebody talking about, first of all, American coin is gold and silver. End of story. It is not paper, fiat currency or
correct
or digital currency. It's just not. It's all based on nothing. But if you think back to what did people use to buy things back in the day? Yes, wampum. Yes, they traded.
Yep.
Yes, they did co-op gardening and sharing of resources.
Mm-hmm.
But you could have valuable money that could only be spent in your county, your state. Money might really change its usefulness going forward in a very different way
from
how we operate now.
It very well could.
Yeah.
It very well could.
And I think it would be good. It would be a positive way for people to feel more inspired and not at such it's a terrible space to be in right now and be looking at world currency. I mean, first of all, the Chinese yuan, the Russian, whatever it's called, that money is pretty worthless too.
Right.
I mean, we're not.
The ruble,
people may be. The ruble. People may be deluded in this country believing the media. Oh, our banks are crashing. Our currency, we're not going to be the world currency anymore. Well, I start to think, actually, nobody is right now.
No.
Whose currency is any good right now? What are we talking about here? Air?
Yeah. But the thing though, right, that I just read it the other day on Silk Road. The biggest difference between our currency and what's called the R5 currency, right, which is the BRICS currency that's going to be rolling out, is that it is backed by a commodity that a tangible commodity, right? Black gold.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Well, if we're backed by yellow gold, that wouldn't be so bad either.
No,
but
yellow gold's not bad.
We need to get back our black gold as well.
Yes.
I mean, we have it. Yeah.
Right.
Boy, this had to have been the most insane 3 or 4 days. And we keep saying that every week, right? Oh
Yeah.
my God, this past week. No, this really was. People that have gold will be the richest countries. I believe that. I believe gold and silver will be our commodities to manufacture with. Use copper, platinum. These are all the most valuable things you can own, whether you have it in jewelry, whether you have it in coin. I don't know about bullion, though, because Hitler took everybody's bullion, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He sure did.
Like guns. They just came and confiscated it.
Mm-hmm.
And people were smart enough to dig holes in the yard and bury it.
Yeah. Yes, they did. It's like, no, we ain't doing this. No, we're good.
I know. And generations later, people came back and found that stuff.
Yeah.
They dug up the land where their parents and grandparents and great-grandparents lived, and yeah. No, these are all just ideas for survival, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah, it is. I mean, if any other time more than ever right now, is we have to get out of this alienation thing, right? Because we're gonna get right back to, you know what I mean, where we were right after the Civil War, right? And I'm speaking on that as far as the economic aspect is concerned, right? Because look, over 70% of the country was poor after the Civil War.
Yeah.
I mean, let's keep, you know what I'm saying? The South itself was poor by default, right? Because again, right, the paper the Confederate States printed, what they called money, was worthless.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The only thing that was backing their currency was slavery. Right? That was the only thing that was backing their currency.
Different?
Right.
So what's different right now? Excuse
nothing,
me?
Right. There's nothing different. Right? So
what did I hear today? All these unaccompanied children in our country right now being put in deplorable slave-like conditions on so many levels, whether it be working or sex trafficking or body mutilization, or, I mean, we have more slavery in the world now than we have ever had.
Yes.
But no, a Democrat doesn't see that. Oh, no.
Mm-mm.
Oh, no. That couldn't, no.
Or communists, or any of those people. There's no slavery. There's no slavery in any type of form, right?
No, life is good. Everything's the same. It's all good. No, we went out this weekend. We had 4 martinis, and we had dinner. Why don't you take your little bit of coin and buy some silver? Oh, I wouldn't even know how to do that. Well, that's crazy. And
those are the people we will never reach, right? Because they think here's the logical fallacy behind all of that, right? We know in our mind, right? And I think I speak for all of us, is that we know America is the greatest country in the world, but we also know that America is fallible. And there's men and women behind the scenes that are pulling the carpet from underneath us little by little every day, every hour, to take what we have. And we understand this. This is why we get into survival. We understand, right, what's happening, right? And we do not alienate each other, because we know at the end of the whole thing, we're all, that cliche, we're all in this together. Meanwhile, the people that, like you were talking about, invest in gold and silver. Oh, no, why do I want to do that for? You are blind to the fact that this country and many countries that has come before this one are fallible. How many kingdoms have fallen before the United States came into existence? Right? I mean, one big one, right? Hello, Roman Empire. Right? The Ottoman Empire fell.
Totally.
Right? People
what about the Republic of China? What about the Soviet Union?
Yep.
What about East Germany? Well, we could just keep going. I mean, look at Africa. I mean, I don't care where you look. History is giving us what humans are capable of. If you don't know what humans are capable of, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not always a positive picture.
No.
And we're a captured operation right now. There's no denying that. We are captured. If we don't stop what's going on right now, if we don't slow it down, let's use that terminology, slow it down, because it's going at such a rapid rate that it's frightening.
Right.
You know, that we're as Donald Trump keeps saying, we are infiltrated from within.
Yep.
Successfully.
Yep.
And how do we slow this down and start saying, no? It starts with the children. Always say, it's starting with the children, the parents, the children, the illegals running across the border, child trafficking, abusing children, sacrificing children. This is human sacrifice. That's what this is. And that's the other part of slavery.
Right.
That I don't know if it's worse or it's the same.
Right.
But show me any place that's not sacrificed children and people. Go back to the Bible, right?
Yep. I mean, look at what he said the other day about children. I'm not going to repeat it because it makes me very upset. But y'all heard what he said. By that boy Biden said about children. I mean, literally.
Oh yes, they belong to everyone. They belong to everyone. If that isn't a communist manifesto, I don't know what is.
No, that's let's keep it all the way real. That's really Nazi-ish. If you right, because Adolf Hitler said in one of his speeches, right, and I repeated it on Twitter. I'm repeat it again, right? The state must declare the child to be the most precious treasure of the people. As long as the government is perceived as working for the benefit of the children, the people will happily endure almost any curtailment of liberty and almost any deprivation. That's what Hitler said.
Oh boy. And wait a minute. What about Hillary Clinton? It takes a village. Same thing. Same thing.
Yep. I mean, look, Mao.
The teachers. Yeah.
Yeah. As I say, Mao said the same thing about the the teachers union. That's exactly it. Mao said the same thing about the children. They were precious treasures, right? They belonged to the country, right?
Little comrades.
Yeah.
Little slaves. Yeah. This is not what we had in mind in the United States. And they're taking the Constitution and wiping their behinds with it.
Yeah.
These evil beings. Yeah. And we're going to take the Constitution and make copies of it and keep it next to our beds. And we're going to keep fighting for it because, no, they can't do this. They can't do this to us.
Yeah, they can't. They will not be allowed to win.
Nope, because God wins. Because we the people win. No. The light wins, not the darkness.
Yeah.
This is dark. We're in the dark now, and we're operating with a battery-operated flashlight. We got to run off here and pay some bills real quick. Y'all already know what to do. Okay.
How to handle business, do the things. Get your cheese, wine, and crackers when we come back. Solutions to this alienation. We're gonna get into for the last half. So y'all sit back, relax, and we'll be back here in 6.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks finishing lower after mixed earnings reports from major U.S. companies fueled growth concerns. The Dow falling 345 points, the Nasdaq down 238, S&P 500 down 65. The Microsoft stock is popping in extended trading after the software giant delivered third quarter results that exceeded analyst estimates, and its cloud segment grew more than projections. And shares of Google parent Alphabet are rising after hours after the tech titan reported better than expected earnings and announced an additional $70 billion in stock buybacks. Chipotle Mexican Grill delivering a sizzling first quarter. The company beat earnings and revenue expectations, sending its stock surging. Chipotle is planning to open between 255 and 285 new restaurants in 2023. New restaurant openings helping drive this quarter's over 17% revenue growth. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Do you want to know what's trending now? You can defer payments of a full NetSuite implementation for 6 months. No payments and no interest for 6 months. This is a big deal. NetSuite by Oracle has never made an offer like this in its 22 years as the leading cloud financial system. 33,000 companies have already upgraded to NetSuite, gaining visibility and control over their financials, inventory, HR, e-commerce, and more. Everything they need to reduce manual processes, boost efficiency, build forecasts, and increase productivity across every department. In fact, almost 90% of finance leaders agree that NetSuite helps them reduce manual data entry time. Whether your business generates millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, take advantage of this special financing offer of no payments or interest for 6 months at netsuite.com/quick. That's netsuite.com/quick. netsuite.com/quick.
Won't appear. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The Chief Justice of the United States turns down a call to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee on ethics matters.
Chief Justice John Roberts thanked the committee for its invitation, but said he must respectfully decline. He cited precedent in his letter to Chairman Dick Durbin of Illinois and Ranking Member Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, saying only twice outside of matters of money and high court membership has the Chief Justice testified before Congress. The Judiciary Committee is seeking answers to ethics questions relating to Justice Clarence Thomas' acceptance of trips and other perks without declaring them. Senator Durbin responded saying a scheduled May 2nd hearing will be held and court ethics reform will happen whether the court participates or not. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
A portion of Yosemite National Park is set to close temporarily due to flood concerns as a massive snowpack is melting. The Island District of Kings County has reactivated a crisis network to help each other prepare, and the city of Corcoran is adding to the top of a levee to try to keep water out. On the Senate floor, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer calling on House Speaker Kevin McCarthy to come up with a compromise plan to raise the debt limit.
I urge Speaker McCarthy to stop wasting any more time on this DOA, dead on arrival bill. Time is running out for Congress to work together to avoid catastrophe.
McCarthy has said he's willing to raise the debt limit, but is calling for spending cuts, something President Biden has said is not negotiable. More than 6 hours after communications stopped, the Tokyo company iSpace says there's a high probability that its spacecraft crashed while attempting to land on the moon. America is listening to Fox News.
Here's what's trending now. You can defer payments of a full NetSuite implementation for 6 months. 33,000 companies have already upgraded to NetSuite, gaining visibility and control over their financials, inventory, HR, e-commerce, and more. Everything they need to reduce manual processes, boost efficiency, build forecasts, and increase productivity. Whether your business generates millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, take advantage of this special financing offer of no payments or interest for 6 months at netsuite.com/Fox. That's netsuite.com/Fox.
Fighters in Sudan have seized a medical laboratory. Now there's serious concern about the risk of contamination.
We don't know which of Sudan's warring parties has taken control of the National Health Facility, but the World Health Organization says it's an extremely, extremely dangerous situation. The lab contains samples of cholera, measles and polio, as well as hosting a major blood bank. A senior official warning there's a huge biological risk. A 72-hour ceasefire is currently in effect in the hope of allowing foreign countries to evacuate citizens and locals to find refuge. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
Communities along the border between the U.S. and Mexico were struggling with a surge of immigrants crossing illegally into the country, and officials in those communities say it's only going to get worse once COVID-era health restrictions expire.
The steady trickle of migrants continued here in Brownsville. The RGV sector chief says that they're averaging about 1,000 migrants every single day for the past 2 weeks, and that number is expected to go up with the end of Title 42 coming up on May 11th. Fox News was in Matamoros, Mexico yesterday at the migrant camp where a couple thousand migrants are waiting for the end of Title 42. They don't have running water. They're living in tents, some of them in worse conditions than that. There's no work. There's constant frustration with the Biden administration's CBP-1 app. And some say they just can't wait any longer to come here to the U.S.
Fox's Nate Foy in Brownsville, Texas. The FDA has approved a first-of-its-kind drug for a rare form of Lou Gehrig's disease. The drug from Biogen is for patients with a rare genetic mutation that affects less than 500 people in the U.S. The drug is first intended to treat an inherited form of ALS, which destroys nerve cells needed for basic functions. The FDA is requiring additional research to confirm the drug's benefit. I'm Lee Silasera. This is Fox News.
Do you want to know what's trending now? You can defer payments of a full NetSuite implementation for 6 months. No payments and no interest for 6 months. This is a big deal. NetSuite by Oracle has never made an offer like this in its 22 years as the leading cloud financial system. 33,000 companies have already upgraded to NetSuite, gaining visibility and control over their financials, inventory, HR, e-commerce, and more. Everything they need to reduce manual processes, boost efficiency, build forecasts, and increase productivity across every department. In fact, almost 90% of finance leaders agree that NetSuite helps them reduce manual data entry time. Whether your business generates millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, take advantage of this special financing offer of no payments or interest for 6 months at netsuite.com/Fox. That's netsuite.com/Fox. netsuite.com/Fox.
Welcome back, Southern Liberty. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us this evening. We're talking about alienation in many different forms, but particularly right now with just society itself, right? Or we're so I would say disjointed, right, from each other because of either political affiliation or ideological belief or what have you, and the disrespect for fellow man has created this alienation that, I mean, we can't always come back from, right? It's happened before in history. But it seems dark, like you said, right? It seems dark because it's like we don't know, like, who we could even potentially trust right now in any of this.
I think we know we can't trust most people.
Right.
That's a good place to start. Yeah, I mean, this is a narrative battle, and these people like Schumer, right after Tucker showed that January 6th video, Schumer was on the stage the next day saying, "Murdoch, you gotta shut this guy down." What? Gee, why did he do that? They are so panic-stricken right now because they're so afraid of being caught. We are watching the greatest cover-up in history right now.
Yeah.
And the positive side of this is they're really running scared. Mm-hmm. It's obvious.
Yes, they are.
Look at all the people that have been removed because they're speaking. James O'Keefe, look at the timing of all of this.
Yeah.
James O'Keefe, he says something about Pfizer. Oh, shut him down. Tucker, January 6th, get him off. Susan Rice. Oh, isn't that interesting? Susan Rice is gone, and I think Obama's running back to Africa. So,
He's running.
They're getting out of This is almost, if you really stand back and look at all of this, Bongino's gone, Lara Trump, they took her off. No communication allowed. Sit back and really look at this. Mm-hmm. It's almost funny if it wasn't. And it's like, okay, who at Fox is going to go next? Because you can see this.
Yeah, Laura
Jesse
Ingraham.
Waters maybe, and then Laura, that's right. So then they all go, and I think I heard tonight Glenn Beck asked Tucker to come on board at the Blaze, but I don't know what Tucker's restrictions are going to be. But I would say, in this environment we're in this alienation, why would anybody pay attention to that stuff?
Right.
You just listen. We're on the radio talking trash every week. They could take us down.
Yeah.
In many ways.
Yeah.
Black out the media. I mean, I've been hearing that for the past year. They're going to black out the media. So, everybody, all these people are running now to Rumble and Spreaker and, wherever they can get their voices heard. And what is happening, and this is what is left out of the ethers of political media, more and more and more people are running and racing for the truth now. They know they've been lied to in numbers that are extraordinary that didn't exist even a year ago. So the floodgates are really opening for new media and voices that are honest and real. People want to know the truth now. I mean, the vaccine, if that wasn't the bomb that's really getting exposed as well, whether anybody gets taken down or hung from their toenails, I don't know, but people are seeing that they've been tampered with. They've been lied to.
Yeah.
And this is a harsh reality. And, we're getting new doctors. I see new groups of wellness doctors, the frontline doctors. Everybody's starting to form these new groups.
Right.
So that people can have real doctors and medical care. But it's at the very beginning stages right now. And, you got to pay up front for it. The price ranges range from all over the place. They're not taking any insurance, obviously.
Right. So they can't be tracked.
Pharma, who knows where that's, right. Who knows where that's going to come in. Well, it isn't even so much tracking, Rod. It's that, people are not going to be able to get safe medical drugs that they may need. They won't be available.
Right.
And they're going to have to figure out how to either get safe drugs for their conditions or learn how to do the work and use herbs and use food and do other things that have become so distant in our world today. Like you were speaking about people today that just don't even have a clue how to take care of themselves. This is a whole other area that we've lost track of when the AMA stepped in. Right?
That's right.
And it's a struggle. Right. And sometimes, these doctors will look at you and say, you need surgery. You don't have another alternative. Well, that's where you got to put your big boy pants on and say, you know what? I'm going to try to figure this out. Yeah. I have figured out so many medical problems in my life on my own, and I'm not being hoity-toity about this, but we may have no choice.
No, right. I mean, you should always be in tune with these things, right? And that goes back to the whole nature thing, right? Understanding, what herbs are harmful, which ones are, you know what I mean? It's going to come down to that, right? But you got
to research.
Mm-hmm.
You got to research.
Yep.
I mean, like, if you have kidney problems, if you have heart problems, if you have sugar problems, if you have, all the obvious things that people end up with as they age, you have to know what to do. You have to have some research under your belt and say, when the day comes that there are no more doctors and there's no more pharmaceutical help, you're going to have to try to do something to help yourself. And if you don't know what that might be, well, we're all going to die. Look, this is something that I think the medical AMA profession have tried to convince people that we can prolong your life forever. No. That's the elite Rothschild. They think they're going to be able to take their brains out of their heads and put them in some artificial womb and live forever. I don't know what they're planning.
Well, that's like Ted Williams, right? That's like Ted Williams. Those of you that know Ted Williams, the baseball player, right? He's in cryostasis right now because of that same belief system from the Rothschilds, right? Just saying.
Yeah, too much science fiction in our lives. We all grew up with that, and
yeah.
When you're a kid, it feels like you're going to live forever. You can't comprehend it. But you have to grow up, and you see people dying around you. But some people refuse to grow up. They're just going to live forever. Hey, when God wants to take you, God's going to take you. Or if you don't believe in God, something's going to take you. So you'll go somewhere. I have hopes for everybody. But you have an end point, and then you go somewhere else, hopefully better than this. Everything's got to be better than this right now.
Right, that's right.
This is stinking really bad. I mean,
think like who fun who, right?
We're not supposed to be living in this emotional disturbance all the time, feeling insecure about every facet of our lives that we felt pretty secure about 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We had our doctors, we had our friends,
right.
We had our families, and we disagreed, we fought, we didn't get along, we had issues, but so what?
Right.
Now it's like, no, I have nothing to say to you, or I'm not going to say this to you because you'll never speak to me again. Oh, well, now that you said that, you're right. I never want to speak to you again.
Right.
You just made your own bed. You just said it.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
That's right.
Yeah. And the crayon box. How do people think that all of this racist stuff that's been thrown at us is not thrown at us? They think it's real.
Right.
Blacks hate whites, and whites hate blacks, and brown people are this, and everybody's shooting everybody, and no, it doesn't have to be this way. They made you think it was this way.
Right.
We're being programmed. This MK Ultra, these Chinese, this Communist Party mind control. They're whips at it.
Yeah.
They're so good at it.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They know how to get us going. Then you mix that, right, with Cloward Piven, right?
Yes.
And then once we get the Cloward Piven in place, right? Now we get the let me take that a different direction a second, right? You got the MK Ultra, you got people manipulated, right? Now these manipulated people, right? I won't say develop, but start sliding into Dunning-Kruger, right? Now, you got people that are out of basically just whatever, thinking they're more than what they actually are, right? Dunning-Kruger. And then these same people create crises that they think they can solve. Who did I just describe?
Like Nancy Pelosi.
Uh-huh.
She said it out loud.
Uh-huh.
Create a crisis, and then they'll all get upset, and then we'll control them. I mean, it's old technology.
Yep. We see the trick for what it is. We see the trick in the rope of dope for what it is.
They think we're stupid.
Oh, big time.
That's really at the heart of what's going on right now. And you know what? We're not stupid, and we see it coming. It's real, and we're going to fight this every step of the way. If it takes 10 years, we're going to fight this.
Right.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
We almost don't have a choice
The way to eliminate political alienation, I have this written on something that I read today, is it's simple. If the state's politics embodies the will of all citizens, political alienation will be eliminated.
Correct.
States. That's where we fight.
Yep. That's
Inside
exactly
the
where we
state.
fight. That's exactly where we fight. There's no other place to fight but there.
Yep. Exactly. Exactamente.
Only way to take down the
we're
Fed
just
is to bring your state up. That's the only way you take down the Fed. Take your state out of the mix. Right?
Exactly. How else are we going to do this? One teacher, one principal, one mayor, one senator, one congressperson, one governor at a time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From the bottom to the top, if you believe in politics anymore. I don't know. I'm kind of like, how do we get, and we're succeeding. We are getting some good politicians who are stepping up to run and get in the fight. But this is like a fight like it's never been. And everybody gets destroyed psychologically and even physically antagonized.
Yeah.
They're going to people's houses now and threatening their families. I mean, honestly, how do you get out of the way?
It's gross.
We both have to get out of the way and get involved. How do you do both? I don't know. I don't know anymore. But we got to try to do both, right?
Yeah, we don't have a choice. We have to do both. We have to walk, chew gum, and drink and carry the glass of water at the same time now.
Exactly, and know when to get out of the way and run into the alley and get away from the bad guys.
Right, and not spill any of the drink. I mean,
that's it. And not step in dog shit. I mean, really, when we were kids in Brooklyn, we used to have those alleys in between the buildings. And one thing you knew is don't run into the alley because the scary kids are going to follow you into the alley and you're going to have no way out.
Right.
You get trapped in there. So, yeah.
It's a booby twap.
Yeah. It's a war game.
Yeah, that too.
We're in the war games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, we just have to stay, and we can't help it right now. Stay very aware of what they're doing, what they're telling us, which is mostly lies and bullshit. Right. And come here and listen to what's really happening because we're really what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. In layman's terms, I'll thank you, Miss Val, always for coming on and doing the things with us. Make sure y'all come back through for Friday for Fired Up Fridays. You already know how it goes down. Phone lines are always open. Y'all, everybody have a blessed week. Do what you have to do to maintain. Do what you got to do to maintain. We'll see y'all back here on Friday. Life, love, liberty, and happiness. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Southern Liberty Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on social media. Subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.bpmg.us or leave a rating and review on iTunes. To catch all the latest from Roderick, you can follow him on social media at manofjustice007. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.